Bonjour, everybody. Hi, I'm Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page and to the live stream show, Communications from Home. Yay! It's Tuesday night, and we had what did Polly Joe call it? A double header? I don't know what baseball terms, right? Yes, Polly Joe LeBay just finished up her show, Chakra Sessions, and she was talking about releasing and cutting energetic cords, right? And what a great meditation that was. Holy smokes. I got to only do part of it because getting ready for this show and helping my mom, get ready for part of her evening. So I was listening to part of it. And I'm going to have to go back and actually do the full meditation because who doesn't have some relationships that you want to have healthier, or to actually maybe those ones that are decades old. Let's put an end to it, and just get on with the positive, right? So thank you, Polly Joe, for that meditation. That was very much needed by a lot of people, I bet. So welcome to Communications from Home, and tonight's show is all about sacred sites. And how I even got to that topic, yeah. Here we go. I'm going to ask a favor to those people who are in the chat, the live chat. If you could do me a favor and make a comment in the comments, just even to say hi. I just want to see if the comments show up in our studio with Be Live TV, because they're our partners to be able to do these kind of shows and to have a little bit more that we can do than with a regular live stream. And if Polly Joe had issues with her chat room, I wanted to see if there's the same that's going on tonight for me. So I'm going to double check here. And while I'm out here looking for the show, I am going to actually share it and like it too on my phone and share it to my timeline. Here we go. All right, let's see if we got some comments. Yay! Now I'm going to have to use my phone too. And what I'm going to do, Polly Joe, because Polly Joe's in the house too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to contact our partners at Be Live after this show, and let them know that we have some issues going on. And they are really, really good with their customer service. All we have to do is let them know, and they're on it. And so usually I have an answer, a resolution to whatever it is within 24 hours. So I'm sure they'll be fine. We've got the phone. What would we do without our phones? All right, so I'm going to like my show, and I'm going to share it, and I'm going to share it with my timeline. If I can do that. That looks different. Wait, we're going to go backwards a little bit here. We're actually going to do it this way. There we go. That's a little bit better. And I'm going to write the post to my timeline and let everybody know that we're live streaming and to join us. The hardest part of this whole thing when we're sharing and that kind of thing is my spelling. My show, please join us. And there we go. There. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it to the closed group for the radio network. And some people might not even know that we have these special groups. We do. We have at least two. No, we have three. We have a special group for just the live stream shows, which we used to call internet radio shows. It's the network. And we also have a closed group for the Academy. And we also have a closed group for the magazine. And why have closed groups? What does that do, right? What that does is we're able to, hang on, doing too many things at one time. We get to share special things with within our community, and offer things that's just for community members. For instance, on the Academy closed group, I do a free mini shamanic journey class, and we're just talking a lot about shamanic items, right? Topics. And for the radio network, what I've done in the past is have met with them, to be able to ask them questions, like what kind of topics would they like to see covered, by the radio show hosts or the live stream hosts, and that kind of stuff. So if you haven't joined those closed groups, just make a request to join, and we will make sure that happens. Okay, good. Excellent. Thank you for your sharing and liking the show. And the reason why we even ask you guys to do that is to help us out. Is really, it's more like a community service, right? Because we know a little thing about Facebook, that elusive creature, that when we share, like, and comment, we are in the newsfeed more often. And so really it's to be able to allow people who are searching for spiritual information that they can find us much easier. And hopefully we'll be able to give them a hand with the information that they're searching for, right? And as light workers, that's an easy thing to do, to be able to help somebody out, right? Because do you remember when you were first awake on your path, your spiritual path, and do you remember how voracious you read information, classes that you went to, and even when we're down our pathways, we're still taking classes, we're still reading books, we're still listening to talk shows like this. So yeah, so we appreciate your help with that. So tonight I wanted to share about something that's pretty fun, and that is sacred sites. And how did I even get to that topic? Because I have to tell you the truth. I was going, what should I talk about this week? It's been a pretty busy time in July, and it's like, okay, so what's most important here? So I was asking my spiritual team about it. And what they kind of showed me was the cover of our July issue. And it's like, okay, you want me to talk about the magazine again? It's like, you need more information. And so what they wanted me to do was to talk to you a little bit more about sacred sites. It is my editorial article in the July issue. And so in my editorial, it's not a very long article, and they wanted me to go into a little bit more depth into the sacred sites near you, literally, where you live, the town, the city, the countryside, wherever it is that you currently live or have lived in the past or will live in the future. Okay. And I started my article with this book, and I've had this book for years. And I don't know if you can see this, but it is called The Sacred Sites of Wisconsin. And it's by John Brian Paprock and his wife, Teresa Penguy Paprock. And it's a book that I've had, like I said, for years. The copyright on it is 2001. And it has a whole, and I've used this book, I don't know how many times with students that have taken classes with me, just on my own private, personal getaways, something within driving distance from me, looking for some place that maybe I haven't been yet, or it's someplace that I've been many times and I want to go back and spend some time in that sacred site. There's a reason why we live where we live. It's not a coincidence. It's not by happenstance. It's not by luck. It's by divine guidance. There's when we go to look for a home to live in, if you're moving or you're trying to decide, especially like no matter what age, it really doesn't matter. Even in your childhood, the home where you lived was specific to the vibration that your family had. And so as we grow older and we get our own homes, the same situation applies. We're meant to reside in areas with a certain vibration. And sometimes you even wonder, what the heck am I doing here? And you try really, really hard not to live in a certain area. Because your mental mind is telling you, no, I want to be over there, not here. I want to be over there. And we try really hard to manipulate that, to change that. And chances are, lots of times, no matter how hard we try, we end up in the area that we're trying not to live in. We've done that a few times. In fact, when we were going to buy the house that we live in right now, we wanted to live a little bit further out in the country. I wanted to have some space where we could do ceremony. We could have some room to roam on a piece of property. And the house that we ended up with is in a golfing community. And it was in 2005 when we first saw the house, toward the end of 2005, because we moved in 2006. Maybe it was early. No, I have to change that. It was 2006, spring of 2006, when we were trying to find a house up here because we were moving. And literally, the house that we bought belonged to our realtor that was helping us. The housing market, we were just on the edge of the beginning of the collapse of the housing market, okay, in 2006. So it was the best house on the market at the time for the amount of money that was in our budget for it. But Paul and I really wanted to live further out. Couldn't find a place. And we had to make a decision. And so we ended up making an offer on this house. In a golfing community. Paul and I do not golf. We golf maybe once a year to help out with a fundraiser or something like that. And what Paul says laughingly, says what we do, people wouldn't call golf. Golfing, but it's a quiet community for a golfing community, and it's pretty. It's a pretty place, and couldn't figure it out. Well, my goodness, the amount of sacred sites that are within less than a half-day drive is pretty substantial. And so I've been to some of them, but I realized that bringing the energy that we hold to this place was really very much in alignment with the work that I was doing at the time. We literally live between two military full-time operational posts. So Fort McCoy and Camp Douglas Volkfield. And so, the energy here, and my husband's in the military, so, I'm pretty used to it. But I was thinking, yeah, come on, maybe a little bit more feminine energy this time around would be good. But when I started teaching classes here, I was teaching classes about ascension. And because people were asking for this particular class. And that first class I held here, oh my goodness, the energies that we shifted, and it was the very first class of its kind here. And so it was literally opening doors to allow a certain vibration through. And black helicopters and the whole bit. And so anyway, that's the reason why we had to live here. But the sacred sites around here supported the work that I was doing. And mounds, I'm talking about effigy mounds. I'm talking about the Mississippi River. I'm talking about all of the petroglyphs that are along the Mississippi River in this area, the bluff regions. It's rich. It's really rich here in the sacredness that are my ancient relatives held here, and specifically talking about the Ho-Chunk Nation and the Osheti-Sekoan nations. So I'm going to check the chat. I'm so used to having it right here. All right. It kind of reminds me of the morning show that I do, that live stream that I do. So Rob Kendall's in the house. Hello, Rob. Elise is here. Hey, Elise. Polly Joe, of course. And Rob's so funny. I asked for the comment in the chat room, and he said, comment. Funny. Yeah. See, Elise, what I'm using is the Be Live TV app. There are partners to be able to do shows like this, because I'm going to be showing some pictures, and we can't do that with a regular live stream. Native live stream is what Facebook calls it, like what I do in the morning. Okay. I can't show pictures with that. So we have what's called a studio, and I can see the live comments in the studio, but that's not working tonight, so I have to use my phone. All right, so hello, Rochelle, and my sister Christine's in the house. Hi, Christine. Thank you, Polly Joe, for sharing the show. I appreciate that. And Motto is here too. Good. Isn't it kind of strange to be saying good evening to everybody, because a lot of the people who are in the chat are usually in the chat when in the morning. So, and Amy Daniels is here too. Yes, Elise is saying the non-show in the morning. Yes, that's true. Hello, Rochelle. I'm so glad you guys are with me tonight. So, I'm interested, and I'm going to ask a question, and as I share a little bit more about the sacred sites, but for those that are in the chat and who will be watching the video recorded show, the question is where you live right now. Do you know of any sacred sites near you? I would say within a comfortable day's excursion, a day's drive. So, there and back. If you, the sacred sites that you know of in your area, because chances are that is one of the reasons why you ended up in the home, this place that you're living in. Because I am curious. There is a way to be able to plan a little bit about where you choose to live. There's something called astrocartography. And there are people light workers, who use their gifts through that method. And that is a combination of astrology and map making. Okay. And what they do is they take your astrological information and they look for areas that match your vibration of your astrological energies, your sign, with what areas in the world, and you can actually hone it down, bring it down to maybe just the United States, so United States and Canada, or if you want to move to New Zealand, kind of thing, that they can help you to identify the best vibrational areas in a certain geographical area that matches you and your natal chart, right? And they also go into, the more advanced stuff that I call advanced in astrology. And so if you're ever looking for a way to be a little bit more scientific about it, you can actually have a reading done with astrocartography. And they can tell you, the top 3, the best places that matches your vibration and what shows up in your astrology chart. Kind of fun. Toma, Wisconsin was not on that map for me. It was for Paul, but not for me. So anyway, it does work. It does work because it showed up on Paul's chart, but not on mine. But then again, he was the reason why we were moving up here at the time. So where we lived prior to this home, we lived near Madison, Wisconsin, which is the capital of Wisconsin. And in Wisconsin, in Madison. Paul and I both worked in Madison. Is we have a lot of effigy mounds in our state. And there's a few places in and around Madison that have huge effigy mounds. And some of those mounds are burial mounds, and some of them are in shapes of animals that literally tell a story. And you can't really see the full story from ground level. You see the full story from an aerial view. Okay. Yeah. And one of the elders that I knew who took me to some of these sites, sacred sites down there, I asked him, why do you suppose that is? Why make the effigy mound so large that that you can't really tell the full story or can't see the full story unless you have an aerial view? And this is what he told me. He said that it's part of a mapping system that for our relatives, our star nations, to come, and so it's about a celestial mapping. That's why you can only really tell the full story from above. And I remember sitting there for the longest time, taking that in. I don't know. It was probably around 2004, 2003. When I was told that, and it's like, oh my gosh. And he's the one who actually was talking to me about that it's no mistake where we live, or where you're born, for that matter. Because I was born in Baraboo, Wisconsin, amongst the bluffs. And the bluff range in Wisconsin, the Baraboo Bluffs, is very sacred to the Ho-Chunk Nation. There's burial mounds and also effigy mounds throughout the bluff region. And so whenever I drive by there, I can feel it. I can feel the pull, and it's a feeling of joy when I see the bluffs. And I'm going to show you just one picture I was trying to find a good picture of, there's a place in the bluffs. It's called Man Mound. You can Google it. You can read all about it. It's in Sauk County. It's in the Bluff Range on the eastern side. And I was part of a ceremony. Gosh, I think it was 2008, maybe 9. That was held there, and I was able to wear my medicine dress and actually dance in near that mound. And here, we're going to bring this up. This is a picture of it. People have been doing all kinds of measurements and all of that for years and years, trying to understand it. This is just the shape of it. It's a shape of, there's not that many human, two-legged shaped effigy mounds. And chances are, and this is what the elders believe, the Ho-Chunk elders and other Menominee Nation elders, what they believe is that this is a holy person representing a shaman. It's not their word, but a holy person, a medicine man. And to be able to do that kind of shape shifting. Now, around his knee area is there's a county highway that goes through there. And so the county took out his knees. His feet are on the other side of the road. From his calves on down are on the other side of the road. But this is a place I used to go when I was in high school. Yeah, I used to stop by there because nobody ever went there, and it was quiet there, and I'd spend time there. And so in 2008 or 9, I had the opportunity to be wearing my medicine dress and to be able, and I was going to dance around it. It's huge, but I was going to dance around it. And my guides are going, no, you're dancing right across the heart chakra. It's like, oh God. It's like, oh my God. All right. And so I did. And just being on top of that was amazing. Couldn't even think of a vocabulary word to describe it. It was amazing. And I was looking for the picture of that and of me dancing. And I know I have it. I just couldn't find it. I'm going to check the chat real quick here. All right. Hey, Teresa Jardy. Hey, Teresa, do you happen to have that picture of me dancing at Man Mountain? And Christine is also in the house too. I don't know if either one of you might have a copy of that. All right. So let's see. Hi, Clara. Clara's here too. Clara, I'm sorry, Clara. Yeah, Clara. Misreading that word, your name. Polly Joe said, "Oh, sweet, near Boston." Yeah. And Rob is saying there's the Great Lakes, Huron being the closest. All right. And Polly Joe is saying, Old Deerfield, the Peace Pagoda. So many ancient burial grounds. Absolutely. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all, Polly Joe. Rochelle says, yes, any water area is sacred. Love living on the river. Rochelle, that especially our ancient relatives here on Turtle Island, depending on where along the river, they would have used that as maybe a camping spot or something like that. Because where I used to live in Poinette, Wisconsin, it was a preparation site because there's a small stream that goes through there, and it flows into Lake Wisconsin, which is a wide area of the Wisconsin River. And I couldn't figure out what the heck am I doing here in Poinette, Wisconsin. And when I meditated on it and went on a journey for it, I saw that it was a place where they would prepare, the ancient ones would prepare for the ceremonies that they would be doing up in the Bluff region. And so they would easily be able to canoe the stream, hook up with the Wisconsin River not too far away, and would be able to paddle up to the most sacred site within that Bluff region, and that's Devil's Lake, which is misinterpreted by the early missionaries. It was actually, the Ho-Chunk really meant for it to be Spirit Lake, and the missionaries called it Devil's Lake. But that is one of the reasons why I lived in Poinette, because it was a preparation site. The energy there. All right. And Rob is saying Uriel. Yep. And Amy Daniels lives about 10 miles or so from so many mounds, Madison, Wisconsin area, and at the edge of the glacier deposits where it stopped. Ooh, lots of energy there. I know, through that region. I live in the driftless region right now. And that region, this region was missed by the last 3 Ice Age glaciers. So there's many places in this area that, out in the country, of course, that hasn't been changed by the two-leggeds. And so there is a lot of original energy still in place, and we have many vortexes through here as well, natural vortexes. And so the glacier went around us, but it also, when it stopped, it stopped in the Madison area, between Madison and Milwaukee, and dumped a lot of the stones and that kind of thing in that area. Rob is saying Uriel's Corner is not really a place, but I've had signs and visions there. Well, it's probably a natural, like what we have here, Rob. Natural vortexes, natural gateways, that kind of thing. Sacred. Polly Joe is saying dinosaur tracks, 10 miles of dinosaur tracks, 10 miles. Talk about ancient relatives. Hey, Mary Anderson Fry is watching. Elise is saying, I would love to visit out east where you live, Polly Joe. And of course, Polly Joe can come on over. Amy saying, I believe those count, Rob. Maybe you've had a special connection to that area in the past. Polly Joe, born 1 mile from the Peace Bridge in Niagara Falls. And how about that energy at Niagara Falls? And I would not knowing anything about the area firsthand, I can't imagine that our ancient relatives didn't hold some sort of ceremony near there or actually there with that much water energy going over into that fall. I would say that would be a place to gather for certain kinds of ceremony. Rob saying the hospital where I was born is right at the mouth of the St. Clair River. Lake Huron flows into her. Again, a confluence, right? A confluence of energy. And here in Wisconsin, what we know about rivers and confluences like that is that many times the Ho-Chunk and the Menominee ancient relatives, that's where they would camp. That's where they would hold meetings, large council meetings, because many people could get there very easily through the waterways. And because you have the energy joining there, it supports certain types of gatherings, right? All right. And Robin is saying McLaren Port Huron now. Okay. All right. And Teresa says she's got it, but it's not handy, the picture I'm talking about. That's okay, Teresa. As long as you can maybe send it to me sometime whenever you have a chance, I would appreciate that. Hey, Stephanie's in the house. Christine saying that was fantastic. I was so glad to be there to witness it. Yeah, that ceremony that we did up at Man Mound, my sisters, most of them were here. We were doing one of our annual gatherings, and so it just happened to fall on that the day that I was supposed to be there to help with that ceremony, and so of course I took them with me. All right, and that's okay, Christine. She said I don't think I have the pic. Stephanie totally lost track of time listening to the archives. I'm glad you're enjoying the archives and find them helpful. Yeah, I'm glad you're here too, Stephanie, in the live show. Okay. All right, Polly Jo is saying the Seneca Nation is very close to where she lives. And so there's probably places for the Seneca in that area that is very sacred. And I don't know about where you live, but here in Wisconsin, a lot of those places that we would call sacred sites are in the county park systems. Some of them are in the state park system, and some of them are actually on Federal Reserve. And so it makes access to them a bit easier. There's places that are on private property, and you have to get permission. And I'll show you one of those. Let's see. Oh, hey, if you're in Ireland, you can always go to Loughcrew, because I'm sure that there's going to be some people watching this that are living in Ireland, and they have places like this that are in their backyard. This one, these are effigy mounds here in Wisconsin, in the southwestern part of the state. It's on privately owned land, and so with permission, you can go up there, but they don't grant permission very much. And so this is, thank goodness for drones. This is a drone shot. And yeah, and so, the one in the middle is an eagle, and then there's a buffalo, and I think the one on the end is a bear. The effigy mounds that are in Madison, near Lake Monona, there is the largest eagle effigy mound in the world. And it's on state-owned property. You'd think it'd be easy to get onto that. No, it's not. You have to ask permission. And when I was taking students up there, it was relatively easy to get permission. We just had to be there on a certain day or a certain part of that day. And from what I've heard, they're not letting many people into that area anymore. But that was it was very nice to be able to take students there, to feel the energies, to take our dowsing rods up there, taking a look at the story the possible story those mounds are telling, because it's so the eagle is flying east and it would fly right over the lake. Okay. And to be able to go and sit on the shoulders between the wings, and to be able to sit there and feel the energy and to do a meditation there is, we'll just use the word sublime. Okay. It is, there's nothing like it to have that much energy surrounding you that way. And of course, asking for permission, right, to be able to do that. Just not going up there and plopping my body down, but actually asking permission. You'd love to see my face. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Polly Joe. Here I am just talking away. All right. Stephanie says, I live at the headwaters of the Rio Grande, and before here, I was at the headwaters of the Arkansas. Oh my gosh. So there's something about the energy of living at the headwaters. I wonder what that's about. That'd be interesting to do a meditation, a journey on that. You know, what is the energy, the spirit of those places that attract you, and that energy needed for your spiritual journey. And that'd be interesting. Yeah, let's see. And Mato is saying, in Western America and was born in the Eastern Sierra Nevadas and now live in the Western Sierras. So in that area, what kind of sacred sites are in that area, Mato? Where would have our ancient relatives, where would they have held their ceremonies in that area? Because let's see, mountain dancers, some of the initiations for puberty and that kind of thing, maybe through there. If you know, that would be nice. She's saying tons of sacred sites. I bet there is. Hello, Cindy Lynn's watching. And Stephanie's saying Ute prayer trees are near here. Oh, wow. And Mary is saying, you took the class there. Yes, we did. We did go there. And yeah. Do you blame them about not letting people on? No, I don't. I don't blame them at all, because they're preserving the mounds through there, you know, and not all two-leggeds respect and honor those sacred sites in a way that is kind. That's a good way to put it. Isn't that politically correct? Yeah, they don't, you know, they throw their trash around. They don't pick it up. They don't throw it away. They party on top of the mounds and that kind of thing. So yeah. Hey, Madonna's in the house. Hi, Madonna. And Mary saying, do you know the sacred sites in the La Crosse area? I know a few of them. I do. I can mention a few of them. Hello, Margaret. Margaret's watching. Rob Kendall, Shasta's is in the Sierras, Mount Shasta. Mato is saying, can find many of them around petroglyph sites. Yes, I would imagine so. You know, and I was talking about our mound system here in Wisconsin, in the upper Midwest, actually. The whole system tells a story. And I know that the petroglyphs do the same thing. It's just that with our mound, because we don't have that kind of rock face around here, we have the bluffs, and you can find some petroglyphs in the bluffs, but not much, right? Let's see, here's one. Here's a petroglyph. This one, I took the picture of this. This is near Albuquerque. I was called to Albuquerque, and it took me at least a year to get there. But yeah, a friend of mine traveled with me, Deb Swinghome, and because I was going to go to Albuquerque, and then I found out Sandra Ingerman was teaching, because she's from Santa Fe, and Sandra Ingerman is, and she was teaching a class, and I wanted to experience her as a teacher. So I thought, well, I'll combine these two things. When Deb asked if she could tag along, I said, sure. And we ended up staying with some friends of hers in Albuquerque. And her friends walked us back. This is in a park system that not many people go to because it's literally right outside the city, and not many people go to this park. It's a long walk in. That's all I got to say. We walked through a couple of vortexes, and we had a real experience there. But this is at the very, very back end of that trail, and it is a drawing of a holy person, a shaman, one who walks in the dark, sees in the dark. And this happened. If you look at it, it's a woman. It's a woman. Here, let's give it a solo so you can really see it. There we go. That was the first time I'd ever seen any kind of ancient drawings here in the United States and Turtle Island of a shamanic type woman, a holy woman. Many women are healers, and so they work a lot with herbs and nature that way. Very seldom do you see them depicted in pictures like this. So of course I had to take a picture of the picture, right? And so this is the one where Spirit told me to turn around. So I turned around and started walking, and told me to stop. And when I looked up, where we walked in, it was like a birthing channel, and then opening up into the womb, right? And when I looked out, was the city of Albuquerque out in front, quite a distance away. But beyond that was the Sandia mountain range. And so, I could only imagine what it was like for our ancient relatives to be in that region, and why they would hold ceremony in there. So that was really special. That was the reason why I was called Albuquerque. And I didn't know why until I got there. My husband and I were out having dinner, and about a year before I went out there, and in Wisconsin, Friday night fish fry, that kind of thing. We were waiting for our table, and so we went into the bar, and we're sitting down, and we're just talking about our day, our work day, and a lot of people in there. We knew quite a few people there in the restaurant, and I was living in Wisconsin at the time, and we were sitting there, and it was like somebody came and stood right between Paul and I, and said very loudly, "Albuquerque." And I'm looking around, it's like, Paul, did you hear that? He goes, "No, what'd you hear?" I said, "Somebody just said Albuquerque really, really loud." And he goes, "Nope, and you can't go there until you know how to spell it." Well, I didn't know that there was a bar game about spelling Albuquerque. I didn't know that. And so, because here I am asking everybody, do you know how to spell Albuquerque? Now, you have to keep in mind that cell phones weren't really, I didn't use my cell phone that way. I could have Googled it if I would have known better. But anyway, that is how I ended up in Albuquerque with this energy of this medicine woman, this holy woman, and learning some things about her and from her. Yeah. So we are sacred sites. Thank you for stopping by, Elise. She's got to go. Thank you. Sweet dreams. And Mato is saying Mount Shasta is in the Cascade Range, not the Sierra. That's right. So the sacred sites in where you live, there's a reason why. The reason why you are where you're living. It's the energy, it's the spirit of that area that supports your spiritual path. And maybe that is where you're going to be able to learn how to use your gifts, is in that area. This particular rock is here, not too far from here. It's probably less than 45 minutes from here. And that's me standing there. And I think, Christine, you were with me. This is Chimney Rock is what it's called. And I think Christine, you took this picture. Yeah, and so they call it because it looks like a chimney, I guess. But when I was there and I put my hand on it, the information I got from that ancient being, because look at it. You can, I don't know about you, but can you see a face there? Let me know if you can see a face. It is the information I got from that particular stone person, stone being, is that he's looking west. He's looking west. And so he gets to see the sunset every day. And the things that the changes that he's seen through his life are many, he said. And that the area used to be used as a gathering place for ceremonies that include the spirits of the West, because that's the direction he's looking in. Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah, he's an old being, that's for sure, and he's got lots of information. And Margaret's saying I saw the face first. Yeah. And and to stand in it, because look how big he is compared to me. Yeah, definitely. He's he's one of those grandpas, he's got a lot of info. So that's practically in my backyard. This is me in Chaco Canyon. I think it's Chaco. Wait. No, I take that back. It's not Chaco Canyon. That's the one that's in Ireland. And I can't remember which fort we were at. It's a fort ring. And this is where people used to live. They would have like a thatched roof over the top of this. And yeah, that's in Ireland. Okay, whoops. Here we go. I'm just going to show this quickly. This is the cover of the magazine. As you can see at the very top, sacred sites near you. This is the image my spiritual team showed me. It was like a flash, It's like, what about the magazine? I just talked about the magazine on the 10th. And no. And this is my article. This is my article. And that face right there of the rocks, that is in La Crosse, and that is Granddad's Bluff. And Mary, you're probably very familiar with that one. That's the most popular, I would say, most well-known site in the area. It's called Granddad's Bluff. But this bluff looks towards, again, the west, and can see the Mississippi River from there, because it's not that far from there. But it also overlooks the Black River, which is a sacred river as well. The Black River and the Mississippi River kind of parallel each other for a ways. And then the Black River kind of comes more inland, and then ends up again down by Prairie du Chien, which is a confluence of 7 different rivers, waterways, flowing into the Mississippi. Now, Mary, down in Prairie du Chien, because you know a little bit more about that area. Am I right when I say there's 7? Because it feels like that's right. 7 rivers coming into Prairie du Chien. I could, because up here it's called 7 rivers, because there's 7 different rivers that flow in this area. Some of them kind of converge and dump into each other, and smaller confluences. But I think it's the one in Prairie du Chien that there's like 7 different rivers that come together. And in that area, Prairie du Chien was a place where major treaties between different indigenous people, different tribes covering the Ho-Chunk, the Menominee, the Ojibwa, the Iowa, the Sac and Fox, who is the Meskwaki. They would meet in that area to to literally negotiate treaties, and also with the U.S. government. Met there too. Okay, she's saying she's not sure of the number. Okay, I can look it up. I'll Google it after the show. All right, let's see. I got a couple more pictures here. Let me take this down, and I'm going to go through them quick just to make sure I covered the ones that I wanted to. Got that one. Here's one. Now, some of this is going to be familiar too. This is actually at my house. This is on the property that we're stewards of here, that we call home. This is my medicine wheel. It's large enough to be able to walk through, to sit in, to feel the energies of the wheel. And this is what our ancient relatives did all the time. They created sacred sites. They worked with Grandmother Earth, with the land guardians, asking for direction. Would like to do a medicine wheel. Where is first of all, asking for permission of the land? Will it help carry the energies of the wheel, to hold that energy, that sacred space for the medicine wheel, and asking for permission to do so? And once you're getting the yes, or, then you can move ahead. If you get the no, then obviously, that's not the place for it. And then working with Grandmother Earth with the layout and the land guardians and the spirits that came to be able to help with it, the spirit of the stones. And so this is to the east of the house and of the academy. And that in the background is a stump that I didn't want removed. And Paul had found this rather large, here, I'm going to do this. This rather large, flat stone. I believe it's sandstone. And it's, I don't know, about 3 inches thick or so. It's rather big. And he said, okay, I was going to leave this one alone, because it's so big, I didn't want to have to, move it. But he says, I was literally walking away from it. I took 2 steps, and it was like somebody said, hey. He said he turned around, and he says, and he looked down at the stone, and he said, I swear to you, it looked kind of glittery. And so he put tobacco down and took the stone, and it was pretty big. It took some time to get it moved. And then he said, where do you want it? And I said, on top of the stump. He goes, you're kidding, right? And I said, no, it'd make a great altar, and so a little engineering, we got it up there, and without getting hurt. And so that is where, we burn the sage or the cedar. And so you can make a sacred space, a sacred site. If we were going to stay here for a really, really, really long time, there is much more that I would do with this. But for right now, it holds a lot of energy, and it's for education and to help people remember what it's like to be in the energy of the wheel when you're studying it. So, yeah. And Mary's saying that there's 3 rivers that meet in La Crosse. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's see. I'm got to scroll back a little bit here. Madonna says that what's in the Baltimore, D.C. area? Let me think about that a little bit, okay? And Rob is saying, and his spirit is crying for leaving. Whose spirit's crying for leaving? Did I miss something? I think I might have missed something. Rob, what you talking about? All right, so the D.C. area. Now you have to go back a ways. I'm sure that there's probably some sacred sites there in the Baltimore area, because there's a lot of waterways that go through there. I'd have to look it up. If you Google sacred sites Baltimore, I'm sure you'd bring it up. Now you're going to probably get a lot of churches, temples, that kind of stuff. And so it's possible that that's there. I got to do something with my phone here. I want to make sure. There we are. I didn't know why, but my got kicked out. All right, there we go. Oh, the rock man who is looking to the west. And it's possible. I mean, he's been there for thousands of years, thousands, and he has seen so many changes, so many changes. And I'm sure that there's some of them that might have some sadness for him. That's for sure. How could you have thousands of years and not have a little bit of that, right? So, Madonna, I would have to kind of look at that. I would have to Google that and see, because along the coastlines, many places were used for gatherings of all kinds for all people, and so I'm sure that there's something there. I'm sure there's something there. Well, this has been fun. I appreciate you guys being with me tonight to go over sacred sites. That there is a reason, a spiritual reason, why you are in the place that you are to live. Take a look at your sacred sites around you. And I try to do, within a day's drive there and back, to carry that energy. And you might surprise yourself in what you find. And to be able to go there and visit and, leave an offering of some sort, whatever your belief system is, would be nice. So tomorrow night is Soul Connections with Polly Joe at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And that particular, I'm not going to call it a show because it's really an hour of healing. And so for those of us who are light workers and we find that we don't carve out time for our own healing work, this time frame is really meant for you. Polly Joe leads us in a healing meditation, holds the sacred space for us to be able to do the kind of work that we need to do for ourselves, and in conjunction with our spiritual teams. So join us tomorrow night, right? And Thursday night, I am so excited about this new show. Minnie Kansman and I, we're teaming up for a brand new show called Nature Adventures. And it's at 8 p.m. Eastern. And our very first show, our premiere show, is about the sacred sites used by St. Francis of Assisi. And so I hope you join us for that very first show. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what Minnie is going to be sharing with us about St. Francis. And so with that, I appreciate you being with me this evening. And, if you wouldn't mind visiting our website for the Academy. We have a couple of classes that are coming up starting in August. The first one is Introduction to Shamanic Journey. That's with me here these are all happening physically here from where I'm broadcasting tonight, which is Star Nations Academy. And that's in August 11th and 12th. And then in September, the weekend of the September 22nd, is the Magic of Hogwarts. Minnie and I are teaching a class together, co-teaching a class together. We haven't co-taught in about 4 years. And so, and we used to do it all the time. So now we get to come back and the band's back together. I think that's the phrase, Minnie and I. And then in October, the weekend of the 6th and 7th of October, Polly Joe is going to be here from Massachusetts. She's coming all the way to Tomah, Wisconsin to teach a class called, the mystical healing of chakras. No, the mystical. Oh, Polly Joe, are you in the house? Could you tell me what the name of the class is? I just drew a blank. Oh, sure. I know it's mystical. Is that horrible? I should be drinking more tea or something at night. Anyway, it is about we're going to be working on our heart chakra. Polly Joe is going to be teaching us about healing that part of us, and we'll be doing some meditations. And so it is going to be an experiential weekend in healing. Mystical healings. That's it. Mystical healings. Thank you, Polly Joe 101. It's going to be, and I am so appreciative that Polly Joe is coming all the way out here to do that. So you can check that out at the website, which is www.starnations.org. Go to the Academy button and you'll find all the information right there for you. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for being with me tonight on Star Nations Communications from Home. I appreciate it. And for those who'll be watching the recorded video, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week for Communications from Home. Good night, everybody.